Hello and welcome to Dubai Trains, and welcome to another Q&A session. And today we're going to be talking about cabooses and caboose tracks, to be more specific. The question came in from Ryan Lopez, a frequent contributor to my channel. Thank you, Ryan. When planning for a caboose track in a yard, what other tracks would be appropriate to connect the caboose track to in order to make the setup prototypical? Also, are there any trackside structures or details that one should consider placing next to a caboose track in order to make it look more prototypical? So let's dive straight in. This is a snippet out of my video number 49. So here you basically see a yard and all the basic components. This yard can be far larger and it can be double-ended and all that. We're going to use this to explain a bit. First, what is a caboose track used for, and how do they switch and operate it, and that will give a sense of where to place it. So looking up the literature, the caboose track is always, mostly always connected to the runaround of the yard ladder, or it's on the runaround itself. So why is it there? Well, let me just take an example. So here we have a train, this is a engine, then we have several cars, doesn't matter how much, and then the caboose here in red at the end. So this train would come into the yard as such, and then arrive on the arrival-departure track. Then there's two variants. So one of them is that the switcher, at this small engine right here, would come in and take the caboose, like that, and then park it on the caboose track. So another option, if your engine caboose would be dedicated to a specific crew, is that the main engine would come off and do a runaround and basically do the same maneuver, pick up the caboose, and then spot it here on the caboose track itself. So you can already see these are quite some cumbersome moves to do. There's quite a lot of switching and switchbacks involved just to get the caboose on the caboose track. Now, if you get a train coming in from the other side, it's a little bit less cumbersome. It's already connected to the front of this pair and to a facing spur like that, so it's a little bit easier and a little bit quicker to do. Then this is off to the terminal, just like that. So one thing I do want to state when building a train, let's say this is a westbound train, the caboose will not be spotted first on the arrival-departure track, and then this whole string of cars. That's not how they did it, because then the chance of a really rough couple or hard couple is too big, and then you'll knock over, for example, the stove in the caboose or the paperwork or the people that are inside. So that's not how they did it. How they would do it is they would first spot all the cars on the arrival-departure track, gently park it to the end of the train, after which the main engine would come out of the terminal and just connect to the train, and then this whole unit would depart and make its run, just like that. So if we got an image, this is one that I found, and what you'll see is on the left you see the yard, and then this would be the first yard ladder track, and then this is sometimes they have a second yard ladder track, so that's this. So that's basically there. The one engine can be switching this set of tracks right here, and then another engine could be switching this set of tracks right here without them fouling each other's yard leads. So 1, 2, and then you see parallel to that is a caboose track right here. One thing I also see in the literature on stub-ended tracks like this is that the cabooses will actually be parked here on this runaround, and then this caboose track right here, this doesn't exist. That's a way to do it as well. It also depends a little bit, and now we go into more detail, how you intend to use your caboose, because cabooses were not strictly handled first in, first out. If you have a first in, first out, you can just pile them all up in one spur and just take the first one again. It doesn't really matter. But many cabooses were assigned to specific conductors or to a train service. This all depends on the era, the location, and the railroad. So you do have to do your homework on that. So there might be transfer cabooses, local cabooses, pool cabooses, and interchange cabooses, all on that same caboose track. So now on to part 2 of the question. Are there any trackside structures and details that one should consider placing next to a caboose track? Well, yes, so let's look at the function of a caboose. This was foremost an office and also living quarters for the crew. So there's a stove in there, a bed, a toilet, all of that. And these needs to be serviced. So there generally was a service track for cabooses, similar as you have a service track for locomotives. But someone had to clean the toilets, resupply the supplies, check the batteries, the radios, and other items like that. And someone else had to wash the caboose on the inside and the outside. So if you look at the photos of the prototype, the first thing you notice is that it's basically a bit of a mess, to be honest. There's trash everywhere, it's dirty, there are these barrels. If you zoom in a bit, there's a cart, there's boxes, there's some kind of reel here, I assume for water. There's another little service house here with cables, I assume that's for power. And here up top you have steam pipes, which I think are used to get the snow and ice off of cabooses, and perhaps also to clean them and to heat them. Here a nice photo from the Tangent Scale Models website. So again, what do we see? A road with parking spaces and a beautiful truck on it, because the crew needs to arrive to the caboose facility. All kinds of barrels. You see a lot of tanks, so this could be a water tank or oil tank. Could be a gas cylinder gas tank here as well. Not exactly sure what the New York Central used. There's some kind of cart trolley here, perhaps with supplies. And again, a lot of barrels, crates, hoses, and a little bit of a mix match and a mess. And note the lighting as well. That's, I think, a nice touch to model, to have some more light and to create a scene on your railroad. Here another image of the Great Northern Railway. Note up top, I believe these are steam pipes. Note also it's alongside a road for easy access. And where to place these caboose tracks, they are generally, because the crew and the engine and the cabooses are teamed up, generally next to an engine facility. So we can see that there's all kinds of structures here in the background. And we see a water tower here in the background, so that would already hint that this is close to the engine facility. It doesn't make sense that if you have one crew, that the cabooses will be on one side of the yard and the engines on the other side of the yard. They would generally be in the same area. Here's another image of the Union Pacific. This is, I think, a bit more modern. You can see it by the cars on the left. This seems to be the 70s, and yes, again, there's a parking lot nearby. They have electrified everything, it seems, so there's a lot of electrical cabinets here. In these units, distributor panels where you can plug in your caboose. There still seems to be a steam pipe here, which is interesting. So going back to the question that Ryan asked, when planning for a caboose track in a yard, what would be the best location? What other tracks are in the area? I hope that clears it up. I would want to add one note that with your own layout, so if you don't have space to make a prototypical yard, then put it in a different location, but put it in a handy location because you're going to be using it a lot. The second part question, are there any trackside structures and details that one should consider? Well, we went over them. There's a lot to choose from. If you really want to go prototypical, check for your specific railroad, how they use cabooses, how they team them up with crews or to specific runs, and for the area that you're modeling, and also what was inside those cabooses specifically. Did they use coal? Did they use oil? Did they use gas? Etc., etc. That is this Q&A. Are you wondering what's the difference between an interchange track and a staging track? Then check the video here on the left, and on the right will be another great video suggestion made specifically for you. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.